Hello and welcome to Cosmetics Business in conversation with MSL Solution Providers. I am Julia Ray, editor of Cosmetics Business, and it is my great pleasure to be joined by Ben Elmadi, who is Technical Manager Cosmetics at MSL Solution Providers, who will be telling us more about MSL's Vegan Shore. Ben, hi, pleasure to have you here today.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again.
Wonderful. So to begin, tell me a little bit about Vegan Shore and how it fits into MSL's beauty proposition.
Yeah, so I think the best place to start really with this is why Vegan Shore exists. So throughout the world, there's mandatory microbiological testing for cosmetics. So for example, the EU, which we personally would regard as like the gold standard, you have to have testing in the NPD, so the new product development stage. That would be like a challenge test. And that would just be showing that the product itself is safe. If it gets contaminated, can it fight off the microbiological contamination essentially? And then you'd have your finished product testing. So before a batch can be released, what you do is you count how many organisms are in there, if there are any in there. And all these tests, they involve microbiological media which contains non-vegan ingredients. So I think the most common one would be TSA, which is what's used for all counting. It's used in both them tests that I mentioned earlier. It contains pancreatic enzymes, and often these are derived from abattoirs, from cows. And same for the neutralizer to deactivate the preservative, that often contains non-vegan ingredients also. So in 2018, we all put our heads together and we started coming up with alternative formulations that would allow us to offer the same tests, only vegan. With us being a testing house, we test thousands of samples a year anyway. So I wasn't the most popular in the lab at the time, but when we made everybody double their testing essentially to show that the products were that the vegan alternative media was just as good as the non-vegan media really. And then we got accreditation with the Vegan Society.
Excellent.
They were very impressed from my understanding at the time. So one thing that we also did is we've separated our workflows, so there can't be any cross-contamination between the traditional tests that we still have to do and the Vegan Shore that we offer as well. I think Vegan Shore as itself it's become quite popular at MSL. It's definitely a growing area. It's something that I myself focus on probably 70% of my time on at the moment. That's how much it's grown.
Fantastic. And are there any examples of clients using Vegan Shore? And can you tell us more about what these brands were able to achieve using this testing solution?
Yeah, so I can't, for disclosure agreement reasons, I can't say all of our customers, but I can mention, I think two that have already come out publicly and mentioned that they use Vegan Shore. So Amelia Knight, which is a large testing house in the UK. I think it's the biggest testing house, the biggest manufacturer in the UK as far as I'm aware. And the Body Shop as well, which I'm sure everybody knows. So they're two brands that have taken Vegan Shore from the early days, to be honest with you, and they've helped us come along the way and develop it as well. So what I think Vegan Shore has allowed them to do is first achieve their vision. I mean, the Body Shop has announced what their vision is for 2023, but also be a trendsetter. Mm-hmm. So the brands can take a 360 approach essentially. So there's many brands out there that are saying my formulations are animal free and my formulations are vegan, but by doing Vegan Shore testing as well, you're showing that it's everything that's vegan about my products that I can possibly do at the moment. So I'm going above and beyond for the end consumer.
Yeah, it's a life cycle.
Yeah. So one thing that that MSL has strived to do and work with people, work with vegan brands in this, is that one, we've validated a test and we've made it a possibility, but second, we've kept the cost down and we've tried to keep it similar. In the vegan world, from my experience, there's a premium that comes with it.
Yeah.
I think MSL definitely went the other way with this one, and we wanted to make it so that it's more of an ethos decision as opposed to an economical decision.
Excellent. So why is a testing solution like VeganSure so relevant and important for today's vegan beauty brands and consumers?
Yeah, well, I think it's more like over the last 10 years, consumers, this is what I've noticed anyway, because that's how long I've been in the industry, but consumers are becoming more and more aware. And veganism it's not a fashion statement, it's not a small population anymore. It's it's a reputable group of people. And many brands are claiming that like I mentioned, that their formulation is vegan, but this is the opportunity for those brands to show that they're going above and beyond and they're truly behind that movement. I think brands move with the demand. So whilst vegans may not be fully aware now of the tests that have to be done, with Google available and YouTube and everything, it's only a matter of time before the vegan community starts demanding that these tests are performed in a vegan way and how much of an impact that they actually have on the world.
Absolutely. So do you think vegan beauty is here to stay?
Oh, 100%. As I mentioned, it's the information era, isn't it? So the population is much more engaged, and they literally will not buy something if they don't agree with it. Nowadays, before it used to be the cheapest thing would be the thing that sold. Now it's the most ethical thing that will be sold. And like I mentioned, the brands, they do move with the demand. And what's happening in the cosmetic industry anyway is that the raw materials that were used, that were non-vegan, there's now vegan alternatives available for them. And I don't know about you, but I remember about 10 years ago having a vegan burger or a vegetarian burger, and it wasn't that great. From being completely yeah. But now, I mean, with some of the stuff that's out there, it's brilliant. You can't tell the difference between the meat or the vegan alternative. We had a barbecue recently, and it had a lot of vegan burgers there, and that's what I ate, and I was really surprised at how good it was, to be honest with you. Absolutely. So I think because the industry has come so far in creating these alternatives, I don't think it's ever going to turn around now. It's just the way forward, isn't it? Especially with the COP26 that just happened. There's the environmental impact that's being considered as well now.
Absolutely. So what is the future then for VeganSure at MSL? Do you have any targets or future developments in store that we should know about?
Yeah, so our UCAS accreditation is on the horizon. That COVID-19 wasn't exactly helpful in this thing. It delayed it quite a bit, but yeah, finally, I think by the end of 2021, we should definitely have it at that point, which means we'll be the first UCAS accredited vegan testing service also. Yeah, thank you. In terms of the actual vegan media itself, so we're expanding our options of raw materials to not only make the media better or to have different purposes, but to drive the cost down, really. I mean, for me, one of the intentions would be that it's not just a slightly above in cost for compared to traditional testing, but it actually becomes cheaper than traditional testing. And then it's a real no-brainer, isn't it, for everybody at that point to move across. In terms of the there's more complicated medias that are used for specific organisms to show that certain organisms are either present or absent in a product. We're working on them. I think we'll probably pair up with some universities in that, because there's some areas where there actually isn't a vegan alternative available, but MSL's striving to be at the forefront of this, and it was originally our idea. So we're thinking of pairing up with some universities there. One thing that I particularly want to do, so one of the other areas of my job is that I audit a lot of sites, and environmental monitoring is something that all manufacturers would do. And so testing waters, for example. So that's maybe not the cosmetic itself that you would be impacting there, but they need to do that in order to show that their manufacturing is safe as well. So we're developing those medias. We're near point that we can actually offer them out, I would say now. And then, of course, once we've finished with cosmetics, because that is our focus, there are other industries. There's one in particular that's extremely obvious, but we'll move into that at a later date, I think.
Fantastic. Well, it all sounds onwards and upwards for you guys. And Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. That was Cosmetics Business in conversation with MSL Solution Providers. For more interviews with leading companies from across the beauty industry, visit the Cosmetics Business YouTube channel and hit subscribe.